All right, let's dive into XRP today. It's a cryptocurrency that's getting attention, not just because of its potential price, but also because of how it could actually be used, in the financial system. We've got some interesting articles and research here, and I'm excited to hear what you think about it all.
Yeah, happy to break it all down. The interesting thing about XRP is it's not just trying to be another one of those assets that people speculate on. It's really built with utility in mind, especially when it comes to like international payments, money moving across borders.
Okay, so before we really get into it, can you give us kind of like the XRP elevator pitch? Like, what is it and what's all the hype about?
Sure. So XRP is the native cryptocurrency of the XRP ledger, also known as XOPL. You can kind of think of it like how ETH is to Ethereum. It's what powers transactions on the network. But the unique thing about XRP is how it handles those transactions. It uses a system that's really designed for speed and efficiency.
I see. Okay. And we actually have an article here called Enormous XRP Breakout to Launch Skyrocketing Rally. And it's making some pretty bold predictions about XRP's future. But, like, where do things stand right now? What's the current situation?
Yeah, so the article is pointing out that XRP recently broke above a key resistance level. Now, in simple terms, a resistance level is basically like a ceiling, a price ceiling, that a cryptocurrency has struggled to move past historically. So this breakout that we're seeing suggests that there's some strong buying interest out there. And the article goes as far as to say that XRP could hit $3.
Wow, okay. That's a pretty big jump. I'm always a little suspicious of these price predictions. What should people be paying attention to see if this rally is actually for real?
Yeah, you're right to be cautious. The breakout is definitely a positive sign, but the article does also mention that the volume of trading, so basically how much XRP is actually being bought and sold, it's not explosive yet. So we need to see more buying pressure to really confirm that this upward trend is going to continue.
Okay, so it's like it jumped over a hurdle, but it's not like a guaranteed victory lap.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Before we get too deep into price predictions, though, let's step back a little. What makes XRPL different from other blockchain platforms like Bitcoin or Ethereum? What sets it apart?
Well, it really comes down to how they reach consensus, meaning how all the different computers on the network agree on which transactions are legit. Bitcoin and Ethereum use something called proof of work, and this takes a lot of computing power, and it can be pretty slow. XRPL uses a different consensus mechanism, one that's designed to be a lot faster and more efficient.
How much faster are we talking? What's the difference?
We're talking about transactions settling in just 3 to 5 seconds with fees that are fractions of a cent. So it's way faster and cheaper than a lot of other cryptocurrencies out there.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. So it sounds like XRPL has a speed advantage, but does that actually translate into real-world use cases? Like the article mentions cross-border payments. What's that all about?
Yeah, that's a key area where XRP really stands out. One of its main focuses is making cross-border payments easier, bridging the gap between different currencies. So instead of going through that traditional system, which can be really slow and expensive, financial institutions can actually use XRP to move money globally way more efficiently.
So instead of waiting days for an international transfer to go through, it could happen in seconds using XRP.
That's the idea, and this is just one example. Ripple, the company behind XRP, is actively working on a bunch of different enterprise-level solutions that make use of XRP's capabilities.
Yeah, it really shows how blockchain can make these complicated financial processes a lot smoother.
It's really cool to see how it's being used in the real world, not just as something to speculate on. And we mentioned Ripple, the company behind XRP. It seems like they play a pretty big part in all of this. Can you tell us more about their role?
Sure. So Ripple is really involved in developing and promoting XRP and the XRPL, and they actually own a lot of XRP themselves, but it's important to remember that most of it is held in escrow. Okay, hold on a sec. What does escrow mean in this case? I'm not really familiar with that.
It basically means that a big chunk of XRP is locked away in a secure account. It can't just be traded or sold freely. And this does a couple of important things. First, it makes things more transparent. It shows that Ripple is serious about managing the supply of XRP, which helps keep the price more stable. Second, it builds trust in the XRP community. People can see that the amount of XRP that can enter the market is limited, which reduces worries about, people manipulating the price.
Okay, so it's like a way of making sure the market isn't suddenly flooded with XRP and that the supply is being handled responsibly. That makes sense. Now, another thing that caught my eye was that the article says that XRP is one of the only cryptocurrencies not considered a security in the U.S. Why is that a big deal? What's the significance of that?
That's a huge deal, actually. In the US, being classified as a security comes with a ton of regulations, and those regulations can sometimes make it harder for a cryptocurrency to be adopted and developed. So the fact that XRP is clear from those regulations, it's a major advantage. It makes it more appealing to institutions and businesses that want a digital asset that's stable and, follows the rules.
So it's like XRP has a green light while other cryptos are still trying to figure out the whole regulatory maze. That could be a real game changer in terms of people using it, especially in the world of finance. But going back to the price predictions for a minute, the article is pretty optimistic about XRP, but are there any things that could stop this rally in its tracks? What are some potential roadblocks?
Yeah, you're right to be thinking about that. While the breakout is a good sign, there are a few things that could slow it down. First, we need to see that people keep buying XRP. If the excitement dies down and buying slows, the rally could lose its momentum.
So it's like we need to see if this initial burst of energy turns into something more long-term.
Exactly. Another thing to consider is how the overall cryptocurrency market is doing. If the entire crypto market takes a downturn, that could drag XRP down with it, regardless of how much potential it has on its own. And of course, there's always the chance of some unexpected event or, bad news that could spook investors.
So there are definitely some what-ifs to keep in mind, but it sounds like XRP has a lot going for it. Speed, low fees, real-world applications, regulatory clarity, and now this potential price breakout. Sounds pretty good, right?
It definitely is an exciting time for XRP, but it's important to remember that cryptocurrency is still pretty new and things are changing all the time. We need to be optimistic, but also cautious.
I think that's good advice for any investment, especially in an area like cryptocurrency where things move so fast. Okay, so we've talked about a lot, from XRP's unique technology to how it could change the financial system. What do you think is the most important thing to understand about XRP?
Well, I think the key takeaway is that XRP is trying to be more than just another cryptocurrency. It's designed for real-world use, especially when it comes to changing how we think about and use money, across borders.
So it's not just about, hoping the price goes up and making a quick buck.
Exactly. XRP is actually trying to solve real issues in the financial world, like how slow and expensive traditional cross-border payments are.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so before we wrap up, I'd love to get your final thoughts, something to leave our listeners with, something to really think about when it comes to the bigger picture of XRP.
Well, given XRP's focus on real-world use and how fast the financial world is changing, the big question is how could XRP and the technology behind it actually change what money is and how we use it? We've already talked about faster cross-border payments, but what other possibilities are there? Could XRP help create a financial system that's more inclusive, one that everyone can access?
Wow, that's a really interesting question. It makes you think about a future where money moves easily across borders, where people have more control over their own finances, and where technology is actually helping create a fairer financial system.
Exactly. And while we can't predict the future for sure, the potential is definitely exciting. I encourage everyone to keep learning about XRP and how it's affecting the financial landscape. There's a ton of info online, and a great place to start is xrpl.org. It's a really good resource for learning more about the tech and its potential.
Great tip. Well, this has been a really fascinating look into the world of XRP. Thanks so much for sharing your expertise.
It was my pleasure.
And to all our listeners, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into XRP. Until next time, keep exploring and keep learning.